So you've been thinking about heading to Trinidad Carnival next year, but have no idea where to start planning? That is exactly where EPIC Cruise Carnival comes in. Hey guys, it's Shanice. Welcome back to my channel if you've been here before. Welcome if you're new. Today I'm going to be breaking down everything you need to know before going on the EPIC Carnival Cruise. So I took this cruise a couple weeks ago to go to Trinidad Carnival, and when I tell y'all I had a ball, okay? It is an all-inclusive non-stop party for about 9 to 10 days. You better make sure you get your sleep before you touch down to get on that cruise. They offer everything from unlimited food and drinks to different carnival events, all the way to performances from some of your favorite artists like Conscience, Allison Hines, Rupee, just to name a few. And I want you guys to experience it as much as I did. So I wanted to share some of the things that I experienced, the itinerary, what's included, tips on choosing a band, and so on and so on. If you are thinking about doing this for 2026, stay tuned to the end. I'll also give you guys the dates that they're going next year. This video will be broken down into sections. So along this line, you will see it's broken up by timestamps. You can either fast forward or rewind just to make it a little bit easier for you. But always recommend watching the whole entire video so you can get a clear understanding of what to expect. If you are from the Caribbean or watching from the Caribbean, make sure to drop your flag down below. Let's get into it. So first things first, here's what's included on the EPIC Carnival Cruise. Unlimited food and drinks, access to some of the best carnival events, an exciting Juve experience, on-deck parties and entertainment. They also offer live performances by some of your favorite artists and DJs, cultural experiences, and local food, as well as an epic Tobago beach party. I'm not sure if they do that every year, but they did that this year. They also have onboard casino and shopping, as well as 24-hour room service. So let's get into the itinerary and what I experienced a couple weeks ago being on this cruise. Okay, so on day one, I had to fly into Puerto Rico to pick up the cruise. It left from San Juan. The whole Wednesday, people were just getting on the ship, settling in, and it took from Wednesday to Friday to get to Trinidad. Just basically over the course of Wednesday night and Thursday, they had so much entertainment to basically feed us just to make sure that, you know, we were entertained and having fun. Once the cruise ship left on Wednesday night, we ended up having a all-white party. You know, when it comes to Caribbean people, they always have to have an all-white party. But this all-white party was so much fun. They had artists come out and perform for us, and y'all never will believe who they had. Y'all, they had Destra, yes, Destra, and they also had Mr. Vegas. Yes, Mr. Vegas. Both of them performed that night. They put on a grand show, and it was just so much fun. Everyone was on the boat just dancing their lives away. So Wednesday's done, Thursday appears. Thursday was when the fun really started increasing. We're still getting a little bit acclimated to the boat. Me and the girls got breakfast in the morning and then went to the top deck because they wanted to sunbathe. We were also still just learning what's on board the ship. They have spas, they have gyms, they had the rock climbing. They just had so much to offer, which I truly loved, because you're serving over 1,500 people. Yes, over 1,500 people was on the boat at different times, but you're serving all these people, so you just want to make sure that, you know, everyone is having fun and staying entertained. After that, they threw a huge pool party with different entertainment and live artists. The first thing we had was a walk-up class with Spinny. If you guys don't know Spinny, he is a fitness instructor from Barbados. So he was just helping the girls activate their waistline for Trinidad Carnival. I enjoyed that so much. It was so much fun, just like dancing and letting go. And especially when you don't really know no one on the boat, I feel a little bit more comfortable dancing around. I don't know, that's just me. But activated my waistline, got some drinks at the bar. After the Spinny class, they had 2 contests. The first one was the Finest Man contest. They put some of the guys on stage and they had to give their best dance moves. And then the second contest was the Who Has the Best Waistline contest. They put some of the ladies on the stage and they had to battle it out. Just letting you know, a Bajan lady won. Period. Once the contests were done, they had artists come on stage and perform. Y'all, the first artist was Father Phyllis. If you don't know him, he is a Bajan artist. I'll play a little clip of his song right now. Yeah, he ended up going on stage, and when I tell you, my cousin basically was like, go on stage, go on stage, go on stage. Like, you need to get this content. And I was just like, girl, please, like, no. But why somehow, some way, I ended up stage dancing with him. It was definitely out of my comfort zone, but I truly had so much fun doing it. And that is one thing to note, like, if you're on the cruise, do things that you probably wouldn't do. You seeing people dance, get up and dance, enjoy your time, because one, you spent money to be on this cruise, and two, it's supposed to be fun. The next artist they had was Conscience. Yes, Conscience. And he sang some of his hit songs, and he also had everyone take a water bottle and throw water in the air. He jumped in the pool. It was a grand performance. And it was just crazy because I've seen Conscious perform before back at my college, you know, Binghamton University. Seeing him perform there and then seeing him perform here, it was just like so much better. But I truly had a ball watching both guys perform on stage. A time was had. And then to end the night off, they had Casino Royale / a comedy show. The comedy show included a comedian named Jer Lee. He's a comedian from Trinidad. And then they also had Major Hype as well. When I tell you, Major Hype had me in tears. Literal tears, y'all. There was also Casino Royale, but because there were two different comedy show times, they had a 7 o'clock and then they had a 9 o'clock. I went to the second one, so I missed the Casino Royale. They had it at the same time as the second comedy show, so I didn't get to see what that was like. So now it's Friday. We touched down in Trinidad. Woo! We touched down probably about like 9 or 10 a.m. Once we touched down in Trinidad, if you were someone who purchased a costume or like was a part of a band, this was the day to kind of go pick up your costumes in the morning once we touched down. But this was also the first day of going to a carnival event in Trinidad. So I didn't play mass in Trinidad. Like, I didn't do a costume. So basically me and the girls, we got ready to go to the event. The first event that we went to was Duckwork. The tickets for this event was all bought by EPIC Carnival Cruise. So that's something to think of. Like, these are certain events that are built into the price that you're already paying. So we went to Duckwork. It was such a fun time. They gave us drink bottles. They had food involved. My cousin was in food heaven at Duckwork. And then they had music playing, you know, just for us to kind of vibe to. I don't remember if certain artists really performed. They did have people perform, but I don't remember the specific artist that performed at that event. Yeah, I just don't remember. We're gonna fast forward. After Duckwork, we went back to the boat. Every night once you got back to the boat, they did have DJs playing music on the top deck for people to be entertained. So now we're fast forwarding to Saturday. Saturday was Soca Brainwash. Soca Brainwash is a huge event during Trinidad Carnival. It is DJ Private Ryan's event. If you guys don't know him, he is a huge DJ in the soca world. He had that huge viral 2015 playlist on SoundCloud. So if you don't know about him, I don't know what to tell y'all, but it is his event, and every year he does Soca Brainwash with a specific theme. So this year's theme was a comic book theme. When I say, like, I kind of packed last minute, as y'all can go back and watch from the Get Ready With Me. So yeah, I seen it was comic book, but I really wasn't paying attention. I'm just like, yeah, I'm just gonna wear it, whatever. But no, people really go hard for the theme. The decoration alone goes hard for the theme. So when people are coming, no, they are coming with a themed outfit, okay? So make sure if you're going to this event, you dress accordingly. You don't have to, but it is nice to like go and just see how people are dressed up. I seen this one girl, she had on like this Powerpuff Girl outfit. It was super cute. Soca Brainwash had so many different activations and different sponsorships that you can go to. They had so much different food. They had doubles. The doubles, chef's kiss there. They had two different stages. They had a main stage and a stage in the back. I never got to go to the stage in the back, so I'm not really sure who performed on that stage. The main stage where most people were, they did have DJs playing music and just hyping everyone up. Towards the end, everyone was mostly crowded instead of walking around because it was starting to get darker. So that's how it got just like more exciting and much more lit. Once Soca Brainwash was over and the people from EPIC was leaving to probably head back to the cruise ship, they did have steel pans outside, which was so much fun. And then EPIC also had a truck, I think, that was just kind of like walking around and people can follow them. But some people also went back on the bus to go straight back to the cruise ship, me being one of them. That night it was a 90s party. I don't remember this 90s party happening, but they said it did happen, but I genuinely don't remember. I think I just probably went to bed, but I don't know. I genuinely don't know. Now we're gonna fast forward to Sunday. Sunday was a chill day on the boat. They did not have any events, carnival events lined up for us to go to on Sunday. That does not mean there weren't carnival events happening on the island. If you choose to, you can purchase your own tickets for certain events outside of what the cruise is providing. One of the girls that I was with, she ended up going to Soca brunch with her cousin. So that was an event off the boat, you know, in Trinidad that was happening at that time. But again, there are lots of different events that are happening. You just have to do your research and, you know, kind of figure out what is it that you want to go to. But for the Sunday, it was a chill day on the boat. They did have an epic whining school that day, led by the Soca dance instructor, Luna. She's huge in Trinidad for, you know, just showing people how to whine, walk up, dance. The girls loved it. It was truly a workout dance class because, y'all, I was sweating. At one point, I had to get some water, sit down. The sun was excruciatingly hot, so you just have to make sure to stay hydrated. Plus, all that movement and dancing almost took me out. And then after that, there was yoga. I didn't do the yoga class, but they did have someone who instructed a yoga class. Later that night, they had karaoke. On different floors, there are different things sometimes. I only caught the ending of it, just passing by, but people were really singing their hearts out on the ship to whatever song they chose. On Monday morning, it was Juve. You had to be ready to go by 3 a.m. 3 a.m. When I tell you, Carnival is a marathon of who can literally function, I feel like, off of the least amount of sleep because there's literally always something going on when it comes to carnivals. We juved with Coco Devils, which was hosted by EPIC. EPIC kind of like led us there. This specific backpack that they gave us included a t-shirt. It came with like a drinking mug. It included little knickknack things to keep you energized while on the road, like chips, gummy bears. They even provided wipes, tampons in the book bag itself. And then once we got to the specific landing point where we needed to start, they also fed us as well. And I say we were out from 3 a.m. to probably about 9 a.m., almost 10 o'clock in the morning, just partying, dancing, walking. Yeah, we truly had a time. But again, it is a marathon. Make sure you put a water in your bag. I had to make sure I'm staying hydrated because once that sun comes out, it can really take all of your energy. Once Juve was done, we got back to the cruise, showered really fast, got breakfast, came back to our room and took a nap, y'all, because once we took our nap for probably about like 2 hours, we had to wake up and head to Monday Mass. Monday Mass is essentially Carnival without the like grand costumes. So people still play in their respective bands. A lot of the times they get like Monday wear. For us, we weren't playing with the band, so we kind of just walked along the way. We ended up walking with Bliss. And when I say their trucks, their DJs on the trucks were playing exquisite soca, like exquisite soca, like literally just dancing up the street until we got to the main stage where they kind of crossed. And we're just kind of like walking around, hanging out, seeing the different bands that came up after them as well. Between Juve and Monday Mass, I took over 40,000 steps. 40,000, can y'all believe that? I think I enjoyed Monday Mass a little bit more than Carnival Tuesday. And I just think that's because I personally didn't play with a band. So I feel like for me, Monday was a little bit more fun. Once we got back to the boat after Monday Mass, again, they had the DJs playing their music every night. So it was just like DJs doing set after set, playing soca music mostly for that day, because obviously Carnival Tuesday was the next day. So now it's Tuesday. People are waking up from as early as 6 and 7, probably even earlier than that. The girls are waking up super early, getting their makeup done, their hair done, taking photos in their costumes. Us, again, we didn't play Mass, so we didn't wake up probably until like 8 or 9. But I would honestly say that was probably a mistake on our behalf, because I don't think we understood we still needed to be early if we wanted to kind of like walk along certain bands. We tried to go to Savannah Grass to see most of the bands pass, but certain bands were playing there, and then some bands were crossing at, I think it was called the Dome, Soca Dome or something like that. So just kind of make note of what you want to do the day before if you are choosing not to play in a band. If you are choosing to play in a band, then great. They have a starting point and an end point. You'll be walking with your band in your fly ass costume, okay? Once Tuesday was done, we got back on the boat to leave Trinidad. Everyone was supposed to be back on the boat by, I think, 7:30. We left Trinidad, like I felt the boat start moving probably about 9 or 10 p.m. Once that happened, again, the DJs are playing their music. This night was actually really good for music, because they kind of slowed down on the soca music. I love soca music, but we were literally hearing soca music from Wednesday all the way up to Tuesday. Tuesday night, they were playing dance hall music, old dance hall, new dance hall, a vibe. So fast forward to Wednesday now. So this is the following Wednesday. Wednesday, we had a beach party in Tobago. We reached Tobago probably about like 9 or 10 p.m. I mean, 9 or 10 a.m. and got ready to head to the beach. They had shuttles waiting for us to head over there. Tobago's beach, we went to Pigeon Point. Beautiful. The waters are blue, the sands is white, the sun is shining. I just personally love going to the beach, so I had a fun time. And y'all, why did I run into Michelle Montana? He was just playing steel pans while me and my cousin was ordering food. It was just crazy. And then on the beach, EPIC will also have performances as well. So I also got to see Allison Hines perform, and Mr. Vegas performed again. They had Charlie Black. They had a couple other performances as well, but I personally did not want this cruise ship to leave me. And I also didn't want the bum rush of when people are now realizing that they have to leave. So we did leave a little bit earlier to get back to the cruise ship. Once we got back on the boat, again, DJs were playing music. You guys know the script by now. So now Thursday we were at sea. So Thursday, they basically kind of had a whole itinerary of entertainment. Vinny ended up doing his walk-up class again. If you didn't get to experience it the first time, you had a second chance at that. I didn't do it the second time. I did watch, but I didn't do it the second time. This day, I ended up going rock climbing. Y'all, for the girlies, if you're doing rock climbing on the boat, your nails will be your biggest op, because in order to climb, you really need to hold on, and your nails stop you from grabbing on the way you need to. So just be mindful if you want to do short nails, or if you wear press-on nails, maybe do rock climbing that first day and then put your press-on nails after. I don't know, but it really kind of impeded me a little bit from climbing up the wall. And then later that night, they had a huge, long sail away party. So this is probably one of my favorite moments on the cruise, just because they had so many different artists come out. And then I just feel like because it was the last night, everyone was kind of like grouped in together. They had it on the 5th floor instead of the 9th floor. So everyone's a little bit more packed in, enjoying each other's company. Father Phyllis ended up performing again. They had Allison Hines perform again. They had Charlie Black. They had Basie of TOK perform. They had Rupi perform. I just love that they had so many different like Bajan artists perform. But yeah, all of these different artists perform. Mr. Vegas performed a little bit again, as well as Conscience. But yeah, and then the DJs just had their different sets, just hyping up the crowd. And this party went on so long, y'all. At a certain point, I went to bed probably about like 3 a.m. The party was still going on. I had to go to bed because we had to be off the cruise ship by 8:25 in the morning for the next day. So I needed some sleep before we had to head out. But that last party was so much fun. I feel like everyone was just taking in the moment that, yeah, this is coming to an end, but we had a ball. Once we got back to Puerto Rico that next day, literally headed to the airport and flew out back to New York. So that is what essentially was included in that 9 to 10 day itinerary for me. It can look different next year, but obviously the bones of it will be heading to Trinidad. You'll have some Trinidad Carnival events. You may do Tobago, and then you'll head back to the port where the cruise ship was originally docked. And the last thing that's so crazy about this itinerary is the fact that Vybz Kartel was supposed to be on our cruise ship because there was an event that he had set up for Trinidad Carnival, but that event ended up getting canceled. So then he ended up not going on the cruise ship. Tears, literal tears. But it's okay because I'm gonna go see him later this year. Let's talk about what is on the cruise ship. So I did mention a couple of these things. So the first thing I want to touch on is the fact that there are 2 pools, a casino, there are shops. I didn't even realize there were shops until the last day. They literally sell everything: alcohol, perfume, the DJI Osmo Pocket 3, the Fuji film camera. They had different dining areas, of course. So there's like the main style where it's like kind of like buffet. You can kind of pick what you want to choose. They have a restaurant at the other pool. It's a little bit smaller. It's more so like snacks. So they have soup. Sometimes they would have pizza, sandwiches. And then they also had 2 or 3 different restaurant options. And then they had a spa and a gym. I didn't go to the spa. I went to the gym one time during the time I was there. They had a treadmill in there, the bikes, the weights. And when I tell you, them older people put me to shame. They literally were in there, even just on the top deck doing their walk arounds, getting their 10,000 steps in. They be working on their fitness. I am their witness. And then the last thing I want to also mention is rock climbing. As I told you guys, they did have a rock climbing on board. Now let's touch on some of the important things you need to know. So you want to make sure that you're choosing a room that is fitting the layout that you want and the comfort level that you want. They have certain rooms that have 2 twin beds, and then the top beds come out. So it's 3 of us. So 2 twin beds, and then the bunk beds come out from the top. And the room was really small. The bathroom was really small. So if I was supposed to do another cruise, I would want to pay a little bit extra money to make sure I have a bigger room. There were also rooms that I saw on our floor that had just the full size bed. And then there was also suites as well. So you can pay for a suite. Make sure that you're choosing a room to kind of fit your comfortability. Next, let's talk about money and currency. So each guest will get a purple card. When you're checking in before you even get to the cruise, there is a card on file attached to that purple card. But again, most times you'll be paying for a drink package prior to even going on the ship. So each time you're getting drinks, the bartender will ask for that card and we'll swipe it, and that's just to make sure that you have a drink package included. On top of that, in terms of just going out in Trinidad, the currency, I'm pretty sure, was $1 US to 7 Trinidadian dollars, and it's pretty easy to calculate. The Trinidadians did take US dollars as well as Trinidadian dollars. I'd recommend still having some of their money, their currency, but again, they did take US money as well. So next we have phone service and Wi-Fi. Being on a cruise will really humble you. You will need to know that everyone from the outside cannot talk to you, and that is truly okay. For me, just as a content creator, I just have like a certain addiction to want to see what's going on, and that can be very crippling. So I would say the service was truly bad when it comes to going around the island, and I just think it's because there were so many people on the island at that point. Normally when I go to different islands, I purchase an eSIM from the app Air Allo. I've told you guys several times before. That Air Allo eSIM did not work until probably about my 4th day out there, and it was just annoying because just like I paid for it and it just wasn't working. One of the girls I was with, I'm pretty sure she had Verizon and her phone worked pretty well the whole time. My cousin has T-Mobile. Her phone was working at certain times didn't want to work. So just note that your phone service may not work 100% at all times. On the cruise ship, you can purchase Wi-Fi. They do have free Wi-Fi, but it doesn't work perfectly, especially depending on where you're at on the cruise ship. I feel like the lower you got to the bottom of the cruise ship, we were on floor 3, as opposed to some people who may be on level 7 or level 8. I feel like once you go down to the bottom, the service is just out of whack. Like once we hit our room, the service literally wasn't working. So you would need to purchase Wi-Fi for that. The Wi-Fi, the good Wi-Fi, was $28 a day. They did have certain packages, like you can pay for like the 9 days you were there or whatever, but it was $28 a day. For the first couple days, I just chose not to have service and not to have Wi-Fi. But then it started to be a point I needed to reach my mom. I wanted to post. I just wanted to see what was going on. So I ended up purchasing the Wi-Fi some of the days, but it's very expensive. Just take note, if you are purchasing Wi-Fi, how much it may cost you. Next is motion sickness. This is a huge topic, because a lot of the times when you're on a cruise ship, obviously it's moving, certain people just really get sick. I personally didn't get motion sickness, and I know a lot of people tell you don't feel the boat moving. You do feel the boat moving, especially again as you get lower down. Like I feel like on floor 3, which is where we were, you really felt that boat rocking. But if you're someone who gets motion sickness, some things I recommend: ginger mints. I also seen certain people have sickness patches on, so it's kind of like this patch you put on your skin while the boat is moving. I'm not sure how great it works, but it is something that I realized people were using during the time on the cruise. Also, someone recommended drinking while they were on the cruise. They were saying that it helped them. So that's another solution. But I highly recommend looking up some other remedies that you can possibly use before heading on the cruise ship. Okay, so now let's talk about transportation. Transportation is just a huge thing, making sure you're getting around safe while you're in Trinidad. Once you get off the cruise ship, in the port, they will always have taxi drivers available for you to kind of go where you need to go. For one, if you're going to pick up your costume, there are taxi drivers. If you are going to any other events in Trinidad that wasn't prepared by EPIC, again, there are also taxi cabs there. There is also a rideshare app. It's called TT Rideshare. I'll put what the app looks like here. If you are choosing to utilize the rideshare app, just make sure that your service is working properly. As I said before, sometimes the service is iffy, so highly recommend using the drivers just because it's a little bit, you know, easier to navigate. The only thing I didn't like about the transportation, for example, when it was included with EPIC, for ductwork and Soca Brainwash, we did have to pay to get a wristband in order to get on the EPIC shuttle bus. So it's like $25 per person. And I just wish that amount was included in the package that we already paid for prior to going on the cruise ship. So that would be my only kind of like advice. Like if someone from EPIC is watching this, like to include that price in the price that we're already paying for the package deal. But other than that, like there is always transportation to kind of get around. A lot of the times we also walked. As girls, we also walked with the guys, so we had someone like to keep us safe. And then the last thing is finding other carnival events. There are a lot of events, like I said, in Trinidad. You can probably find different calendars online. Some other events, like I said, is Soca Brunch. They had another event called Ambush by Caesar's Army. They have another event called Imagine or something like that. But there are so many different events outside of the ones that they plan. So when you have chill days on the boat and you want to do that, you can look up to do that with your friends as well. Now we have choosing a band. Choosing a band is crucial to the amount of fun you're gonna have. You're gonna have fun nonetheless, but obviously you want to play with a band that you truly love. Originally, when we were going to Trinidad, we wanted to play with Spirit Mass. They had a great package for food. Their costumes are beautiful. Ended up signing up to get a costume on day 1. Kind of have to like sign up. They put you on a wait list, and then basically when they came back, they was just like, everything is sold out. So I feel like they kind of pick and choose who they want to be, you know, in their band. I would say Spirit Mass is very exclusive, So make sure if you are someone who wants to play spare mask and you aren't able to get a costume, make sure you're also looking up other bands as well. So there is Spare Mask, Yuma, Tribe, there is Bliss, and then EPIC also put out their own costumes as well. But if you want to play like in a specific band, highly recommend like Yuma, Tribe, Bliss, and Spirit Mask. Those are the ones that I know. If you are someone who played in Trinidad Carnival, drop some bands that you may know of down below in the comment section. So now for the final details, I want to touch on packing as well as the new dates that EPIC Carnival Cruise will be sailing to Trinidad. First things first, packing. These are some of the essentials you should be packing. You want to make sure that you're bringing body oil or body gel. This just helps get the paint and powder off of you so much easier when it's time to shower. Number two, a cheap pair of sneakers. You can find cheap pairs of sneakers at places like TJ Maxx, Marshalls. This is essential because paint and powder are going to be sticking to your sneakers. Some sneakers it's a little bit easier to wash off than others, but just for the sake of also packing and just not having to bring back as much stuff, I would say a cheap pair of sneakers goes a long way. I had got some from Pretty Little Thing and just left it there for them to throw away once Carnival was over, once Juve was over. Number three is a shower cap, especially if you have long braids. A lot of beauty supply stores sell shower caps for braids. So this is something to pick up, especially for Juve. You don't want that paint and powder in your hair. It takes a lot to wash out, especially if you have braids. Next is fishnet stockings. This is not essential, but a lot of ladies wear fishnet tights with their costumes for either Monday Mass or Tuesday Carnival. Next, again, is the motion sickness stuff. Make sure that you're packing your motion sickness essentials, just if that is something that applies to you. The last one, crucial, is vitamins. Y'all, so many people don't realize how much people get sick after being on a cruise ship just because, I guess, of being in close proximity with so many people at one time. Pop up on your immune system before even getting on the boat. Before I went on the cruise, I was taking ginger tea, lemon tea, just to make sure that my immune system was kind of built up. You're gonna be drinking a lot. That kind of brings down your immune system. It's just a lot on your body to take in at one time. So Vitamins is the one stable thing that you should bring while on Carnival Cruise. So if the wheels are turning and you're starting to think, maybe I should book with EPIC Carnival Cruise, they have already opened their bookings for 2026. They will be sailing to Trinidad February 11th all the way through Friday, February 20th. If you are interested in booking, I'll put their website down below. You can kind of go start researching. Please know if you're doing Trinidad Carnival, a lot of the times hotels and Airbnbs sell out really fast just because people already start booking from the time Carnival is over. People have been booking since Carnival is over. So I think the cruise is just like a great way, just stress-free. A lot of the things are planned for you and anything that you do outside of that is just extra. But yeah, if you're thinking about booking with EPIC Carnival Cruise, let me know down below in the comment sections if you have ever been to Trinidad Carnival, whether just on land or cruise. Let me know below in the comment section. I would love to hear you guys' experience as well. I have posted my Trinidad Carnival vlog, so if you guys are interested in seeing my experience, definitely go check that video out. Other than that, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to your girl. And until next time, bye guys.